Now, one of the things that we are seeing on the suite of social media is that the president of Onvo and the VP and head of global design at Onvo connected with employees in Munich online, which of course they had a discussion on some of the key insights into Onvo's brand positioning. This is something that is pretty exciting because some of the people right now are wondering if this might be the first step of Onvo maybe wanting to make sure that they also go to Europe. I mean, when you talk about Europe, you talk about the EU tariffs, which EU just imposed or just activated those tariffs 2 weeks ago onto the Chinese automakers like Nio. I mean, it is for this reason that, of course, even China has advised some of their companies like Nio to halt or to stop expanding into Europe, or to halt sort of like the expansion into the European countries, which is something that makes investors wonder if this is the end of the road when we look into Europe, which, well, based on the article we read today, it is not the end at all. I mean based on the article published by South China Morning Post, EU tariffs will not stop the Chinese EVs from entering bloc, which is in Europe, right? They are saying, based on the Chinese or industry officials from the expo, which is currently taking place now, they see the EV makers continuing penetrating the European market. I mean, today, still on this very same article, we read some interesting news. I mean, even Xpeng indicated that they are looking for ways to make money in Europe, but they must find other ways and will have to come with business strategies to make sure that they do well in Europe, which this shows you that Chinese EV makers are still going ahead with plans. They still want to make sure that they get or grab a market share in Europe, which is something that is very, very interesting. I mean, based from these comments from the China International Expo, you and me can agree that we are still going to see some great stuff coming out of Europe. We are still going to continue seeing companies like Nio doing very well. I mean, you will know that just a couple of weeks after EU Commission announced these tariffs, Nio CEO came and said that for a sub-brand like Firefly, they still believe they can do well in Europe, which shows you that they still plan on going to sell in the European market. I know to some people, Europe market right now, it might not be good for Nio, but in the long term, we will need that market for growth. We will need the European market for growth, which is something that, of course, we look forward to. I mean, US just elected Donald Trump as their president, which that, who knows, it might make things smooth, it might make things easier for the tariffs situation, not only maybe in China but also in Europe. But we'll wait to see what transpires. But anyways, Nio, regardless of these tariffs, they still see themselves doing very well. They still see themselves generating some good revenues coming from Europe. I mean, Europe, you'll know that a country like Norway, who's not partaking or participating into this tariff increase, they've been seeing some huge steady growth there, which is something that is bullish, something that is amazing, as that adds onto the total deliveries that Nio is making, right, or is generating on a month to month. So this China International Expo or Import Expo coming with these comments, I think it's pretty good, man. I mean, the expo, you know, that is taking place, and Nio, our favorite stock, the ET7, has been chosen as the vehicle that will be taking or transporting some of the delegates all over the world, which is something that, of course, it's bullish, it's amazing, because those top officials from other countries, they will get to feel the kind of quality cars that Nio is producing, and who knows, we get to see Nio penetrating those countries in the near future. So I'm happy about this, man. I'm excited to know that the China International Import Expo just said this about the penetration of Chinese EV makers into Europe. Yes, there's no solid ground for now. It's still back and forth from both the two parties, that is the EU Commission and China, but there will be a solution that will come. A solution will come, and therefore we should not lose hope onto the European market. Yes, we've got Maina, which is expected to do way more in terms of sales than Europe, but Europe will also need Europe, I believe. I think we also need the US market, which we need to, in the long term, find ways, strategies to penetrate those markets in order for us to continue seeing massive growth onto these companies. So yeah, man, tell me what you think about this. I think these are massive news, these are bullish news, because they tell us what some of the experts are saying, or they are telling us what some of these experts are seeing into the Chinese expo that is taking place right now. And because of what they are seeing, they believe that we are still going to continue seeing Chinese EV makers going to penetrate the European market. XPeng just said they are looking at new ways, strategies to make sure that they do well amidst this tariff increase. I think XPeng, Nio, and Leoro, I think they'll be getting a tariff increase of around 20.7%, whilst Tesla, it's just, I think, 7.8%. BYD, it's 17%, but you've got others that will be getting tariffs increase of around 35%. I think those are the ones that were never complied to the investigations, which is something that resulted into them getting that. Nio complied to the investigation, but they were never sampled, which is why they are getting the 20.7 tariff increase, together with some of the EV companies like XPeng and Leoro. So yeah, man, we look forward. I think, though right now it might not look as important, but in the future I think the European market will be important for companies like Nio. And knowing that the president was having an online meeting with the Nio team in Munich, it shows us that maybe they might be preparing, taking also Onvo there, starting to penetrate the EU market with their Onvo L60, which is massive, because we know in Europe Nio has made a name for themselves, though they are not selling as much, but they are recognized very well there, which therefore means taking their cheap or their mass market brand like Onvo, it will open so many doors, because those that could not afford the Nio cars, they will be able to buy Onvo, which is something that is bullish, amazing. And it makes me wonder what will happen when Onvo and Firefly penetrates the European market. All I can say is that blue sky is coming, man. Long term will win. Maina, blue sky is coming also there, which is something that is pretty exciting. So do your own due diligence, man. That's all from me, and God bless you all.